Hello! Hey everybody, I'm Koza, and today I am reviewing the Cloverfield Paradox. Cloverfield is a very strange series, and even calling it a series is a little bit strange. Because the first movie, Cloverfield, which everyone knows, the found footage film where the Cloverfield monster comes to New York City and just terrorizes and blows shit up, everyone thought that was a cool movie, that was it was over, and then several years later, I think it was like almost 10 years later, they made 10 Cloverfield Lane. And everyone was like, oh my god, there's gonna be more to Cloverfield. They already had made a manga. There was a lot of stuff floating around in the ARG. There's like all sorts of weird media about Cloverfield. There's a bunch of strange websites with weird names. And it just kind of developed this huge cult following of people trying to figure out what it all meant. Like the marketing for this movie, just Cloverfield alone, was like so impressive to me. That honestly gives me so much more respect for the movie itself because of everything they did around it. It was genius, and they're still doing it. Like 10 years later, they're still doing this, and it's so cool. But yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, and everyone was like, what is this? Is this connected to Cloverfield? And then they saw it, and they were like, I'm pretty sure it is, but there was nothing that really connected the two together. And the Cloverfield Paradox is allegedly supposed to connect the two movies and explain how they are connected. Now, I'm not gonna say that's totally a lie. You don't really get the answers that you think you're gonna get when you watch this movie. There are definitely some things that connect them, or at least theories that I have about them being connected. There's nothing that like outright says, this is what happened, this is where the monster came from. Well, it kind of says that, but it's all very vague, and it's very much like you kind of have to guess. I definitely have some theories, and I'm highly considering making a whole video about this and the whole franchise and how it's all connected because it's so interesting to me, and it would take me way too long to talk about in just this review. But I have a lot of theories, and this movie definitely makes you think, which is fun and it's cool, but like, okay, I'm just gonna start over. My mind is all over the place with this freaking Okay, so the Cloverfield Paradox takes place in the year 2028. I don't believe it actually says that explicitly in the film, but it does say that somewhere in the ARG that I was talking about. It's floating around the internet somewhere on one of their like fake websites. I'll try and find it and put a link in the description so you can see, but I don't think it actually says that in the movie. But this is taking place in 2028, way after everything else. Cloverfield was in 2008. 10 Cloverfield Lane was like 2016-ish, I believe. But in this film, the world is running out of energy. It is falling apart, everything is terrible. They're basically all out of resources and worried that the world is just going to die and they won't be able to provide for themselves anymore. So this team goes out into space to try and create this energy source. It's called the particle accelerator. It uses this god particle that is supposed to essentially create free energy, but it's very dangerous. It's explained at the beginning of the movie that it is more powerful than anything they've ever tried. It could unleash completely unknown shit like huge giant monsters, maybe? I don't know. It could break the space-time continuum, it could mess up timelines, it could do all sorts of shit, but they're like, we don't have a choice, we have to do this. So they go up into space and they run this particle accelerator thing, and of course, nothing goes perfectly because that would make for a very boring movie, so everything goes to shit. It kind of like explodes, sort of, this like boom of energy. And this team that's floating around in space is now zapped into an entirely different dimension. And the rest of the movie is just a lot of weird shit going on, them trying to figure out how to get back home, how to deal with all sorts of weird shit. I don't want to tell you because spoilers, but it's weird. And then it just turns into this big sort of space horror. It reminded me very much of Alien, like being completely isolated in space, being not necessarily hunted, but like definitely being picked off by something. There were just a lot of moments where I was like, this is straight out of Alien. This is Alien, which I thought was really cool because I love Alien, but it wasn't quite Alien. Something was missing a bit. But I do love that fear of being isolated in space. I think that's a really cool basis for a movie to have, and it definitely creates a sense of horror, and there's a lot of anticipation and suspense, and you're scared watching this movie a little bit, although I'd say more confused. Not really scared, just confused. So while this is happening, while the team is up in space, one character in particular, Hamilton, she's kind of like the main character, like the Ripley of the team, if you will. She has a husband who is back on Earth, and on Earth, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, and it's all kind of vague as to what's going on, but there are like bombs exploding, and like everything is going to chaos, and he doesn't know what's going on. And so there's kind of this back and forth between what's happening on Earth and what's happening in space. And the only thing that really makes sense to me is that every storyline that is happening in a different timeline. It's the only way this will make sense. Like I said, I am probably going to talk about this in a whole other video, but basically, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think the movie starts in one timeline, they go up into space and go to a different timeline, but Earth is still on this timeline. Cloverfield is on this timeline. 10 Cloverfield Lane is on this timeline. And this timeline in space, when they come back, I think they come back to a different timeline, but I'm not sure which one it is. What is happening? Okay, so that's all interesting and great, and I'm gonna analyze the shit out of it, and then I'm gonna make a video for you. But to review this film, I kind of need to take it out of the Cloverfield series. Like, just take it out, forget about everything, and just look at this movie as a film. It is incredibly average. It is not that great. When you're trying to figure out everything around it, it's really interesting, and I mean, you do have to take that into account. Obviously, it is part of this series, but looking at it as just a standalone film, it felt like a very average sci-fi film with some action and a little bit of comedy and a little bit of mystery. But all things aside, it's kind of very predictable. The characters don't really form any kind of strong bond. Like, when you have a team isolated and stuck in space, they're gonna form some kind of camaraderie and you're gonna like root for them and want them all to stick together, but I never really felt that. I never felt that connected to anyone except maybe Hamilton, the main-ish character, but it just felt like something was missing. Nothing about this movie was really that exciting, and I would just say it's a very average sci-fi movie. Sorry. And it sucks because I had a lot of anticipation for this, but maybe the next one will be great. I am kind of excited for the next one. It's already been announced. It's going to be set in World War II, which is just a really cool era to work with, and I'm excited to see that. And I hope that maybe that will tie a little bit more of this together. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to give the Cloverfield Paradox a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was cool within the whole universe, but honestly, just pretty average movie. So let me know what you guys thought of the Cloverfield Paradox. Let me know what your theories are, because I've just been reading all these like random subreddits and theories that people have about everything, and it's so interesting to me. So I would love to hear what you guys think about all of this. But thank you so much for watching my review. I'm Steph Koza, and I will see you next time. Bye.